Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary, starting with one of my favorite shows, Big Brother. In this episode, I'm chatting about Celebrity Big Brother Season 3, the premiere night. So this is the first episode that we're seeing in the season. The house guests had already moved in. I don't know why I forgot that. Sometimes in some seasons they do that. So they have been in the house probably about a week or more. I didn't look this up, but so we're looking at taped footage. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, towards the end of tonight's episode, I thought I heard Julie say that it's going to be a live show on Friday. So I don't know if that'll be Friday throughout the rest of the season, where it'll be live. But we'll see. And I think after they air the West Coast episode, after they air it in the West Coast, the live feeds will be turned on. So I'll be checking those out and come back and share some thoughts there too. But anyway, getting to the premiere night. So I think it was a ski lodge theme, and I'm so bad because during the regular season of Big Brother, I really pay attention to like the house, the theme and stuff like that. And maybe I'll do a separate house overview for this season of Celebrity Big Brother. Or maybe I'll just, thread it in throughout my reviews. But I believe it's a ski lodge theme. I saw skis on the wall. Looks pretty. One thing I wanted to make note of was that the staircase going to the second level near the head of household room. In previous seasons, we've seen that staircase to be spiral, right? Goes up, spiral staircase. Well, in this season of Celebrity Big Brother, there's no spiral staircase. So it looks wider, it looks bigger, larger space. I don't know, that was just a big difference. Last year, the big difference that they made, they put a door on the bathroom. They didn't have that prior to last season. And I hadn't seen if there was a door on the bathroom in this house, but that was just one thing I wanted to make note of. All right, so I don't want to make this too long because Celebrity Big Brother is fast-paced, fast-track. They're having like episodes every night, it seems like. And then I think, like I said, Fridays is the live eviction, I suppose. But there's a lot of episodes that'll air. I won't be able to come on every night, but I'll do my best to keep you guys updated and give you my thoughts. All right, so house guests, celebrities entering the house. So, of course, I kind of thought that he would enter the house first, Carson Cressley. So he entered first. And he was lively, of course. One of the things that made me laugh is when they showed him on the farm and he said he had a splash of Gucci on. He had a splash of Gucci and he's like talking to the horse and stuff like that. So, and then when he sprayed air freshener, that just made me chuckle. So Carson Cressley was the first inside the house, little lively, of course, big personality. So we saw him. The second was Cynthia Bailey. And for some reason, she made note of her 3.6 million followers. I think that's what she said. I guess that's supposed to show relevance or influence, I suppose, today in social media. I just found it interesting that she mentioned her followers, the number of followers she had. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to make note of is her daughter kind of called her out and said that she would be kicked out because she has no athletic ability. So that was funny. NSYNC Chris came in third, into the house third. He says he's familiar with Big Brother. And one of the cutest things I saw is when his wife asked their son, now what are you going to say? And he said, who wants to see my HOH room? I thought that was so adorable. And of course, he's making reference throughout the first episode with NSYNC songs. He said something about it's going to be me, or who's going to win, who's going to be the winner of Big Brother. And he's like, it's going to be me. Yeah, whatever. It was kind of cheesy. I've been pronouncing her name incorrectly. I kept saying Shanna Mokler in my last episode or in my cast reveal episode. But from what I'm hearing in the house and how other house guests call her, it's Shayna Mokler. She entered the house fourth. She's a self-proclaimed Big Brother superfan. Todd Bridges came in next. A couple of other house guests before him said they were actors or they're known as, they said, a model, and then they threw an actor. And I thought, I just don't, what has Cynthia acted in? I don't know that. I wouldn't consider her an actor. I know her based on the Housewives, but whatever. But Todd Bridges, he is an actor. I know him as an actor, He says he's very familiar with Big Brother. And by the way, I thought he made a smart move tonight, but we'll talk about that in a second. Mirai, that's the ice skater. That's how she pronounced her name. Mirai Nagasu. She came in next. She hopes to use her approach in competing as an Olympian competing or as an athlete. That's the approach she's going to take to the game. So she seemed kind of quiet, but more like, not stoic, but kind of quiet, not outgoing, more serious and very competitive. So we'll see. SNL Chris entered the house. I'm not sure. Now I remember, well, I never saw the movie. I don't believe I saw it, but Night at the Roxbury, I think that was one of the biggest things. And of course, SNL, he was on SNL. I remember him in a couple of skits. But I don't know. I didn't realize he's short. He's a little short. I don't know. I didn't think he was tall, but he was a little short. And I think something's wrong with his neck. I think he has a brace or something. I don't know, but I wonder if that'll affect him like in competitions. It didn't look like it affected him too much tonight, maybe. But we'll see. He says he's not the best game player. He hopes that he's going to be likable and people are entertained by him. He tried to be funny tonight. I didn't find him particularly funny, but it's okay. It's still early. Todrick Hall came in next, the 8th person to come into the house. He's a self-proclaimed Big Brother superfan. And if you listen to my last episode, I'm kind of seeing hints of it, but I think he thinks he can play this game. I think he thinks he can play the game well. I don't know, Todrick. We'll see. I hope he doesn't overplay. I said that a lot in my last episode, or in my cast reveal episode. Excuse me. Excuse me. I said that I think he may overplay or play too hard too soon. But we'll see. One of the things that we'll see. Excuse me. One of the things he said was he can't cook, but he loves to stir the pot. All right. Next person was Misha Cupcake Tate. She likes makeup and hair, but anything but a cupcake. That's what she was explaining how she got that name. I have no idea what that means. She says, I like makeup and I like hair, but I'm anything but a cupcake. I guess that means she's not sweet or not girly or something. I don't know. Anyway, it seemed like the only person who recognized her in the beginning were NSYNC Chris and then Todd Bridges. Other people were looking, and they're so polite to each other because, this is a celebrity version of Big Brother, right? So we have celebrities in the house. And so you would think that people know who these celebrities are or would know one another. And it's so funny because when a few people entered the house, specifically Misha, Teddy, the looks on people's faces, like they didn't know who they were. Some of them didn't know each other. It was so funny. And then they were trying to figure out who was NSYNC Chris. But they were so polite because they were like, my name is so-and-so. What's your name? Like, it's like, and I'm like, but these are celebrities. We're supposed to know who these people are, right? All right. The next person that came in was Teddy Mellencamp. She runs a business and she knows how to handle celebrities. That's what she says. She wasn't sure if NSYNC Chris was in Backstreet Boys or what. She said, I think it's NSYNC. And she's like, I love boy bands. But that's what I mean. Like, they look at each other and they're so polite, like, hi. And it's so fake, so Hollywood. Like, hi, how you doing? It's nice to see you again. Meanwhile, they don't have any idea who the person is. And then, of course, they left Lamar Joseph Odom. He came. He was the last house guest to enter the house. Everyone knows who Lamar is, of course. One thing that I found interesting, I guess it was in his book. I didn't read his book, but when he went through his issues in the overdose, he said he was in a coma. They put him in a coma, or he fell into a coma as a result of his overdose. But anyway, he had 12 strokes and 6 heart attacks. Wow. I noticed he was a lefty. He's a left-handed. Now, I don't know if people knew that before based on basketball, but I don't know. I just, it popped out. It popped out. I noticed when he was writing with his left hand, right? Lefties are supposed to be smart, all right? That shows a form of intelligence, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to make that assumption, but yeah. And he says he doesn't know the game well at all. I don't believe it 100%. And like I said, I think people will underestimate him because he's, that quote unquote jock. But Lamar's not dumb. And I think he's going to be underestimated, and that's going to get him far because people will think that, oh, well, we'll just get him later, or he doesn't know what's going on. We'll play him. Meanwhile, he's going to get to the end, right? And what made me laugh when he was talking about, do we get a trophy as a prize? Like, do we really believe like he thought that the grand prize would be like a trophy, or he wasn't aware what the grand prize was? Do you believe that? I think not. But anyway, after all the house guests entered, and I think I covered everyone, right? So we had, Carson, Cynthia. This is the order that they entered the home. So it was Carson, Cynthia, NSYNC Chris, Shayna, Todd, Mirai, SNL Chris, Todrick, Misha, Teddy, and Lamar. Right? And so they did the thing that everybody, or all the casts do every season. All the casts, what they do, they pour some wine, some bubbly, whatever everyone's drinking, and they make a toast saying, here's to a good season. It's nice to know everybody. And they're like, oh, everybody's so light, or everybody's so warm and toasty and chummy. And that won't live long, trust me. All right, so another observation in the game, Carson, it appears, based on what we see in the episode, that he created the first alliance, and it's called Girls and Gays. And it's Carson, and here are the people in the alliance: Carson, Todrick, Shayna, and Cynthia. I think that could be a hidden, I don't know, because when Todrick entered the home, Carson was like, oh my goodness, I know him. And he was like, yeah, I thought I was going to be the only gay here. And then they walked around the house. So I don't know if they can hide that they're in an alliance because, they were so chummy when Todrick first entered in. But we'll see. And Shayna and Cynthia. And I kind of thought, what would it be like for them to be in an alliance? So the fact that it's those four, we'll have to see how that works out. And when I start watching the live feeds, we'll learn of other alliances, I'm sure. We learned that the grand prize for this celebrity of Big Brother is $250,000, right? Is that? Yeah, $250,000. Yeah, that's $250,000. $250,000. All right. One of the things, actually, the first HOH kicked off, and it was a BB Winter Gala theme, and they all had on like designer outfits, and they were kind of funny. The competition was a competition of endurance, and so they had to balance on ropes. It was interesting because in the beginning, Julie asked for a volunteer for an MC, and with that person, whoever volunteered, they were not going to be safe for the week, in terms of they wouldn't give them safety for the week, so they wouldn't be safe for the week, and they wouldn't be able to play in the competition because they will be the MC. So she asked for a volunteer, and I found it interesting that Todd Bridges volunteered. I thought that was smart for him. I think he volunteered because he didn't want to be on those ropes. He looked and said, "Oh no, I'm not playing this." But I think it was a smart move for him. I don't think he will be put up, but we'll see. But I thought that was kind of smart. I don't know. So he volunteered. He was scared of that competition, and I think it'll work out in his favor. He won't be the first one to go. All right, SNL Chris. He was the first one to drop. I think it was like a minute and something. I'm like, oh my goodness, is this an indicator of how he's going to perform throughout the season? And that's if he makes it through the first, quote unquote, the first. Well, not I was going to say the first week, but through the first eviction. Because you got to remember they're already in the house, so it's probably already been a week or something like that. But he was the first to fall, and then Cynthia was the next. I didn't keep up with the rest of the order. But one thing I did make note of was during the competition, while they were on the ropes, in BB world, they always are throwing slimy things on you and gook and liquids and all this other stuff. So they're on the ropes, and then Todd said something that was something about, oh, you love caviar or golden caviar. And anyway, when the caviar dropped, it dropped so hard. It looked like it hurt because they were all shivering so hard. So it must have been cold, but it looked like it dropped on them so hard. And I'm like, oh my gosh, was that on purpose? It looked so heavy and just a big whoosh. And so they were all covered in gold, glitter and all this other stuff, and they couldn't see. But it really looked like it hurt when that stuff came down. It wasn't light at all. Anyway, during what they were showing their during the competitions, because it was already taped, so they show their diary room comments and stuff like that. And it was funny because, well, Todrick already, how would I want to say this? He gets, people give him a hard time because they always say, oh, he's clout chasing. He's always trying to get fame and stuff like that. But you can't discount his talent. But one thing that I did notice is during his diary room session, he says, yeah, maybe this will help me get a remix with Cardi B or something like that. And I thought, oh my God, people are going to pick up on that. And I guarantee people are going to make mention of that because they're going to say, look, see, he's still clout chasing, da, 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 da. But whatever. I like Todrick. And I loved his outfit and the way he modeled it out there. It was pink and white, and it looks like it was like candy, kind of like a lollipop and stuff like that. But I just think he's cute. I like his personality. I don't know. I like him. Anyway, as the people started to fall off, there were, I think, 3 people left. Anyway, and this is what I mean in terms of a hint of Todrick playing hard and kind of overplaying already. He wanted to make a deal with, well, let me back up. The last few people that lasted, the last 4 people were Teddy, Todrick, Misha, and Mirai. And Misha just had her eye on Mirai because she's competitive and she wasn't moving. And that's who she was like using her. She was using her as an inspiration to stay on, right? Because she's like, I'm looking at her and she's not moving and I'm not moving until she drops and stuff like that. So it was the 4 of them left. And then Mirai, I believe she fell. So Todrick, he was getting tired of staying on the ropes and stuff like that. So he's like, I am over this. So he tried to make a deal with Misha and say, hey, if I drop, are you going to put me up? Are you going to put me up? And he kind of did it the right way because he did it before he was getting weak and falling off. So it still looked like he was firm and he wasn't going anywhere. But he says, if I drop, are you going to put me up? And she's like, no. And that was a clear no. It was a quick no. So he's like, all right, I'm out. And he dropped. So then Teddy says, hey, Misha, if I drop, were you going to put me up? She's like, well, I love Todrick, but I can't promise you that. I can't promise that I'm not going to put you up. And in her diary room session, she was like, oh, that's because I'm not going to be promising everybody something, da da da. And clearly, Teddy could potentially be one of her targets. So it's safe to say that they're not in an alliance, right? And that they potentially could be going after each other. Now, while I did respect that Misha was so honest and says, well, you know what? I'm not promising you anything. I can't say it for sure, I respect that she was honest. However, we all know in Big Brother world, that doesn't win you friends, right? So I think she could have done it a different way. You know what I mean? But she was like, no, I'm not promising you anything and stuff like that. So I think that might come back to haunt her later on. And I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, Teddy wound up dropping. Well, Todrick fell, Teddy wound up dropping, and Misha won the first HOH. So she's in power. And then, of course, expect the unexpected. Julie announced that there's going to be a game-changing power that's going to be introduced, and it's in this Gala gift box. It has a secret power, and we're going to find out what that secret power is in tomorrow's episode. So if I'm able to come back and do a review again or recap, I'll share what that is. Otherwise, I'll share it. Well, I'll share whatever in the next time you hear me talk about Big Brother. All right. And it looks like the live episodes will be on Friday. So I'm going to go. Thank you so much for listening. That was the recap. So far, I think that, let's see. I think Todd Bridges made a good move volunteering to be an MC. So I thought that was a good move. I don't think he'll be voted out first. I think Mirai, I think she could potentially be a target. So if she doesn't make friends quickly, she's going to be a target. I think Teddy would potentially target Misha based on that conversation and the deal that wasn't made. I think Lamar is in a good spot. Nobody's even noticing him. And again, underestimating. So we'll have to see how he plays. Carson is loud and there, and we see him and we hear him. So we'll see. And what else? SNL Chris. We'll see if he gets funny in the season. But I don't think he's going to have a long stay at the BB house. But we'll see. I'm interested to see who Misha puts up. Misha Cupcake Tape. I want to see who she'll put up. That'll be interesting. So we'll learn all of that in the upcoming episodes. All right. Oh, and for now, we have one alliance that we know of. The girls and the gays. And that's Carson, Todrick, Shayna, and Cynthia. So we'll see how they strategize moving forward. All right, and that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. Give me a follow, subscribe, leave me a comment, leave me a message. You can find me by looking for Chatter Out Loud. I have this podcast. I tweet. I'm on YouTube. So look for Chatter Out Loud and you'll find me. I'll also have, links to where you can find me in the description. So be sure to check that out. All right. So my name is Danielle and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your support. That's all I have. So thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.